Hello everyone, and today we will start a topic on neutral point clamped converter. This is one of the multi-level converters that is very popular and is extensively used. It was proposed around say the early 1990s, I think around 80 or 81, 82, somewhere around that time, is probably the most popular multi-level converter in the market, okay, neutral point clamp converter. So, what we will cover is the circuit topology of a 3-level neutral point clamped. NPC stands for neutral point clamped converter. So, we will study circuit topology of 3-level NPC, then space vector diagram, and then the PWM strategy and capacitor balancing and some other topologies of NPC. Let us first start with how did we obtain the NPC. So, when this transistor based voltage source converters became popular, people were using the 2-level VSI or 2-level voltage source converter, and typically they were using 2 switches like this here. It is still used. So, it is the most frequently used voltage source converter, 2 switches like this. Now, when it is being operated, still valid, the whatever discussions we do is still valid. So, if we run this 2-level voltage source converter, one drawback, there are several drawbacks which we have earlier said, and that is why some people go for a multi-level converter in its design. One drawback is that we need a high switching frequency of the switches, so that the size of the filter is reduced. And if you do not have a filter, then sometimes dV/dt on the motor, for example, this converter is driving a motor, then the dV/dt on the motor can be quite high, especially with a long cable. So, it was felt that so if you see here if you see here that the voltage output of a conventional voltage source 2-level converter is something like this, where the output voltage is varying between 0 and Vd, and by using sinusoidal pulse width modulation, we are changing the width of the pulse sinusoidally, so that we get a embedded sine wave inside the output of the converter. The output waveform here has always an instantaneous error between what the actual voltage which we want to produce and the actual voltage produced by the converter. We have discussed this, and so there is always an instantaneous error between the actual voltage produced by the converter and the desired voltage from the converter. The desired voltage from the converter should be this red waveform. Okay. We want a perfect sine wave output from the converter. However, because we have only these 2 switches S1 and S2 in our hand, so we are only able to produce this voltage waveform which spans between 0 and Vd. Okay. So, there is always an instantaneous error between what we desire to produce, that is the sine wave, and what we are actually producing, which is this series of pulses spanning between 0 and Vd. So, the instantaneous error is the source of harmonics in the waveform. So, if we can make a waveform which is having a shape like this here, where this is this red one is the desirable waveform, and what we are actually producing from the converter is like spanning between 0 and V d by 2 here, and on the negative side it is spanning between 0 and minus V d by 2. Okay. So, what is the benefit of this? The benefit of this is, as compared to this waveform, is that the instantaneous error is less in this waveform. Okay. So, here for example, on the positive side sometimes we were using a pulse which was far away from the red waveform, and here we are using a pulse which is closer to the red waveform as compared to this waveform. So, the instantaneous error is less in this waveform. That means, this waveform is more towards a sine wave. Okay, we can do the Fourier analysis of this. So, this waveform is more sinusoidal. So, the question is, how can we get this kind of a waveform from the converter? Okay, that can solve many of our problems which we encounter in a conventional voltage source converter. So, then came the 3 level converter. Okay. Which is why it is called 3 level converter, because there are now 3 levels of voltages possible from this converter. So, V d by 2, 0 and minus V d by 2. Earlier we were having 2 levels of voltage, 0 and V d. Now, we are having 0, V d by 2 and minus V d by 2. Okay. How can I get this is shown in this circuit here. Okay. Now, so the just one second here. So, in case of a, so this was A and this is 0 and this is A and that is 0 here O. So, in case of a 2 level voltage source converter, the VAO voltage can be 0 and VD. Now, we want to produce 3 levels of voltage between A and O here on the diagram here, A and O, 3 levels of voltage. So, what do we need therefore? We need 3 switches S1, S2 and S3, right. So, for accessing the the midpoint of the DC source, we are using a third switch S3. Now, remember that in a 2 level voltage source converter, the point O we had taken to be the negative of the DC bus. Some authors take or make a circuit like this also. Some authors denote the voltage source converter as like this. Okay. If you put O at the middle of the capacitor, it becomes actually an imaginary point. So, the point O is fictitious or imaginary, it does not exist physically in the circuit. Okay. So, for this circuit here, the voltage waveforms will be minus V d by 2 to plus V d by 2, again 2 levels, plus V d by 2 and minus V d by 2. The 0 level does not exist. If I take the 0 level to be at the bottom, then I have 0 and V d as I have shown it in this waveform. In case of a 3 level inverter, however, this 0 point is actually present in the converter, it is physically accessible and used. Okay. So, this is a physical point inside the converter to which we have connected the switch S3. Okay. So, it is physically present inside the converter. So, let us now see that if I use such a circuit, how can I get 3 levels of waveform output. Okay. So, if I turn on, suppose this is shown in this figure and also in this table. If I turn on S1 here and I turn off S2 and S3, turn on S1 and I have turned off S2 and S3, I have turned on S1, then I get with respect to this O point or 0 point VAO, I will say O point, the voltage VAO is VD by 2. Okay. So, this is shown here, VAO is VD by 2 when I turn on S1 and S2 and S3 are off. On the other hand, if I look into this C figure, if I turn on S2 here, this lower switch, and I turn off S1 and S3, then the voltage VAO will be minus VD by 2. Okay. So, this is what is shown here, VAO is minus VD by 2, 0, 1, 0. These switches are ideal 4 quadrant switches. Okay. So, they can carry current in both direction and can block the voltage in both direction. Generic switch here, we have started with that. Now, if I want to get the midpoint voltage, okay, the O point is often called the midpoint because it is the midpoint of the 2 DC sources. Usually these 2 DC sources are made from capacitors. So, if I want to access the midpoint voltage, I will turn on this switch here and will turn off S1 and S2. So, this is what is shown here, and in that case if the midpoint voltage is at 0, then I get a 0 voltage at point O. So, therefore, 3 levels of voltages plus VD by 2, 0 and minus VD by 2 are possible at the pole voltage. So, VAO or VA, the A point voltage, we can say it is a pole voltage. So, VAO can be 0 VD by 2 or minus VD by 2. Now, let us see what are the ratings of this switch. Okay. What are the ratings of this switch? What is the current rating of these 3 switches S1, S2 and S3? The current rating of course should be equal to the load current or the current which is flowing through this terminal. Okay. So, all the switches must be carrying at least this amount of current. What about the voltage rating of these switches? So, how do I know what is the voltage rating of the switch? I can know the voltage rating of switch, for example, for S1 by turning on the other switches and seeing how much S1 has to block, how much voltage S1 has to block. So, therefore, suppose I turn on S3, okay. Of course, remember I cannot turn on S3 and S2 simultaneously, then I will have a short here. I also cannot turn on S1 and S2 simultaneously, then I will short this one. I also cannot turn on S1 and S3 simultaneously, then it will short this one. So, S1, S2, S3 cannot be turned on simultaneously, only one at a time. So, therefore, if I now want to know the voltage rating of S1, then suppose I turn on S2, okay, I turn on S2, then this point's potential will come here, and so S1 has to block the full DC bus voltage, okay, and hence the voltage rating of S1 should be equal to Vd, right. Voltage rating of S1 should be equal to Vd. This is what is shown on this one. Similarly, if I want to know the voltage rating of S2, I will turn on S1, I will turn on this one, and we will see how much voltage comes across S2 that it has to block. So, therefore, once I turn on S2, this point, this plus terminal will come and will be at the same potential here. So, S2 has to block the full DC bus voltage, and hence its rating is Vd. What is the rating of S3? What is the voltage rating of S3? Now, when S1 is turned on, then the plus terminal of this DC source comes here, and so the S3, the maximum voltage rating of S3 is Vd by 2 with a plus here and a minus here like this, and this will happen when S1 is turned on, okay, the plus here and minus here. On the other hand, if I turn on S2, then the minus terminal of this DC source comes here, and so S3 has to be the voltage rating of S3 has to be Vd by 2 like before. However, the minus point or minus terminal comes here, so it has to block such a voltage, right. So, which means that this S3 has a voltage rating of half of S1 and S2. However, it must block bidirectional voltage. It should have the capability to block bidirectional voltage, as you can, as we have just explained. So, this is what is shown here, that S3 can have or needs to have plus Vd by 2 and minus Vd by 2 as the bidirectional voltage capability. So, this kind of a bidirectional voltage blocking capability is, for example, possible through this kind of a circuit here, where you see that you have a transistor and a diode in series, an IGBT and a diode in series like this. Okay. So, if you want to suppose this side is plus and this side is minus. So, the device will not conduct until you turn on this transistor here. Okay. Only when you have turned on this IGBT, the device will conduct if the current direction is like this. Okay. So, it can block the plus here and the minus here. Of course, the diode on this side will block this one here, right. Now, on the other hand, if you have a situation like this, then once you turn on this transistor, the current will flow like this. This is a bidirectional voltage. This circuit can block bidirectional voltage. So, we need S3 as something like this here. S3 must be made something like this kind of a circuit here. So, what we understand here is that switches of different voltage ratings will be required in this circuit, and S3 must be a 4 quadrant switch. It has to block both voltages on the both sides plus and minus, and it has to carry current in both the direction. Next is like we want to, if I want to use switches of same rating, suppose I want to use switches of same rating, because in the last slide we saw that we need switches of Vd for S1 and S2 and Vd by 2 for S3. Last slide we saw that. Suppose I want to use all switches of Vd by 2 voltage rating, then I can make a circuit arrangement as shown here. So, you have S1 and S2 here series connected. So, once you have series connected, the voltage rating of these two switches will reduce to half. So, then S3 and S4 also Vd by 2 and S5 is already Vd by 2. Okay. So, still what will happen is S5 still should be a 4 quadrant switch. Okay. Although we have made all switches of the same voltage rating, but still S5 will be a 4 quadrant switch. In order to make S5 this switch similar to these switches, so we can make a circuit like this, where the functionality of this switch can be partly taken care by S2 and S5 together here. Okay. In this circuit which I have shown here, all switches are identical. They have the same voltage and current rating, and all of them are identical, and there, so each switch is something like this. All the switches in this circuit is something like this, all of them are identical. Okay. And all of them have a rating of Vd by 2 and a current rating of IL. Now, later it was also realized that it may be actually possible to have only diodes in place of IGBT plus antiparallel diode in place of S5 and S6. It is also possible. So, people had realized that. So, then if you explain this a little bit, but S5 and S6 may not be IGBT and antiparallel diodes together, or a transistor antiparallel diode together, it is not needed. So, we can only have diodes here D5 and D6. So, the overall converter or overall NPC, the neutral point clamp converter, for one phase looks like this. You have two diodes, okay, like this, and you have 4 switches. The 4 switches all have transistor with antiparallel diodes. Okay. These diodes D5 and D6 are called clamping diodes, because they are used when the 0 point or the 0 voltage needs to be accessed. We will see this operation just now. So, what we have done is we have tried to derive the topology of this 3 level neutral point clamp converter, how it came up from the concept of a conventional 2 level voltage source converter. So, this is the one phase of the converter, and so we have also the 3 phase of the 3 level NPC shown here. Here you see that you have this as the one phase, the midpoint of the capacitor is connected to this point here. It is also connected here for the B phase, it is also connected to here at the C phase. Okay. So, the midpoint of the converter or midpoint of the DC bus is physically accessible and it is used in a neutral point clamp converter. There are 4 transistors with antiparallel diodes along with 2 clamping diodes D5, D6, and similarly in the B phase also you have clamping diodes, C phase also you have the clamping diodes. Okay. So, we will now see the operation detailed operation of this converter.